Hey guys, so today we're going to be going over the issues with Tagatame, and this is less to do with global than it has to do with Japan. Although, just realize that Tagatame is global's future to an extent. It's not that global can't change things, it's will global change things. So keep that in mind as I go through here. And I've shown this unit off before. This is Ambrosia. She's the new unit in Japan. I really do like her design. But there's an issue with her, and this is a systemic issue that is plaguing Tagatame, and it's the reason why, to the title of this video, if you think that Tagatame is in a bad state right now, or you think that the Alchemist Code is in a bad state right now, you shouldn't even bother touching War of the Visions. So let's quick go over why Ambrosia is such a problem unit, and then we're going to get into how this extends to War of the Visions. So, this is Ambrosia. She is the new Genesis unit. And she is limited. She cannot be pick-ticketed under any circumstance. No Genesis unit can. And unlike Mera or Nyx or Emmer, she actually needs her Kaigen to be functional. Most of the Genesis units, 4 of them, only have access to their first gate of their Kaigen, and most of them only got that recently. So you could still 85 them and then plausibly max out their gate 1 for some extra HP and maybe some extra damage. Ambrosia, however, actually needs at least 3, if not 4, out of her 5 gates to be a functional unit, including Gate 1, Gate 5, and Gate 2, which are both 100 shards each. So, good luck with that one. Now let's see how we get our shards. So, shard banners are not a thing in Japan anymore. We pretty much never get shard banners. I think the last time we got a shard banner was during a collab, and it was like an old style, like 2 pulls per day or something, and I think it was like just like once or twice, just for like certain units. Basically, it wasn't designed to max out a unit, but just designed to be a little extra. But I can't remember all of the details of it. I just remember that it happened. So as you can see here on the first banner here, this is the standard Ambrosia banner. I got mine off a different banner, which had a 2.5% rate for a Genesis unit on each individual step, 1 Genesis unit at a time. So it was 6 steps for 2.5k each, 15,000 gems. Alright, honestly, that isn't too awful by Tagatame standards these days. It's still not a great banner, but, you know, it's not too awful. And I did sack her on the 2.5% chance, which is great, right? And I actually got 25 shards out of the banner too, which is even a bigger sack, right? But that was like a 1 banner, and and she was on the 6th step. Now this banner here, you can get 25 shards. You have a 50% chance to get 25 shards for her on the 3rd step, and then you have a 5 times rate of getting the unit on the 5th step. This is not a very viable way to get shards. Don't forget that Ambrosia also needs her limited Nenso, which then once you get it, you're going to have to max limit break, because it actually doesn't have all that much power on it outside of its max limit break. Because its max limit break gives her better defenses by upgrading her shield passive, or shield vision ability on it, if I remember correctly. And it's also going to give her a bunch of speed that she's missing, because new units in Japan these days, like, you're looking for like 180-ish speed, I want to say. 140 is like the dead minimum that you want to have on your units, or they're like almost unusable. 140-ish. It's actually a little higher than that, but in general, you want at least like 140-ish speed. 180-ish is like a nice sweet spot. 170 isn't bad. Neither is 160, but 180-ish is like what you would expect on a unit this frickin' whale. Mind you, and I'm just going to quick point this out, I did pull 9 steps on this banner to get my Sharon Nenso. Just disclaimer, because I'm going to show you something later where that becomes relevant. Right, so there's no good banners to get her shards. So how else do we get her shards? Well, let's take a look at the Genesis hard quests, because these hurt. So there's actually 2 hard quests where you can get her shards to drop, and it's on this first one here, right, and on the 5th one here. And these are 40 AP each, mind you, so more AP than normal. And each time you run it, you have a chance to get that drop. Just a chance. It is not guaranteed by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, out of this entire week, I have gotten 1 Ambrosia shard this way. 1. So if you got like 1 shard per week, I don't even need to tell you how long that's going to take to max that unit. So this is a nice little like extra thing, but it's not really how you're supposed to get these shards. It's an extra. What you're supposed to do is use those hard quests to get these bosses, tickets to run the bosses, which you'll then later use to pull on the event gacha. And in this particular instance, if I go into the lineup, there are Kaigen mats for 3 of the Genesis units, and on the 4th box, there are 25 Ambrosia Shards. But that's it. Unlike the boxes from the Kasumi event, there is no like chance to get like Genesis Shards out of this. There just isn't. So you get 25 more shards from her actual quest line, plus a couple of shards if you manage to get really lucky. So you might be asking at this point, Mal, then how the hell are you supposed to get her shards? Well, you either continuously pull the gacha, or if you want to do it the cheap way, and I use cheap very sarcastically, you buy them from the Louis shop or from the peddler shop. So each time this shop resets, there's a chance that Ambrosia will have shards in here. I have not seen 10. Julia is actually a similar unit to Ambrosia. She is a Genesis unit that needs her Kaigen to be good. But point is that Ambrosia shards will appear in here, and you just straight up buy them for gems. Just straight up buy them for gems. And that's what I've been doing. So I told you that I pulled 9-step on that Sharon Nenso, right? So that's like 22.5k gems. Let's just take a quick look to see how many gems I've spent this month. I also pulled 9-step on the Ambrosia Nenso banner, which I then actually got, and I actually have a pick ticket from that too, which is another 22.5k. So we're looking at, what, 45k so far, right? And then I spent 15k on the 6th step, if I remember correctly. And so far this month, I've spent almost 63,000 gems, and a lot of them have been getting on Ambrosia stuff. 22.5k to get the Nenso, which I can't even max limit break, mind you. I'm going to need multiple Lust reliefs and possibly pick ticket out of dupe from that, so that way I only need 4. But that's still going to be 2 months before I can actually max it, assuming ideal conditions. Right? And yeah, that's a lot of gems. Now, I had saved up a lot of gems for a long time to be able to do this, and I'm only maxing her, or at least getting her as far as I can, because I want to. I just want to have, like, one last unit, like, one last new unit that's, like, usable and nice, and I really do like her design, but there's just no future in this. This is completely unsustainable for anyone outside of the whalest of whales. Mind you that if you wanted to get that max limit Ambrosia, then so, like, this month, you're going to have to continuously pull her Nenso banner, because you can only get 2 free reliefs per month. There are no relief selectors in the shops. There are no reliefs from any of the banners. You have to get dupes in order to max it this month, unless you just happen to have a bunch of Lust reliefs on hand. Right? You cannot get her shards from this shop. You can get dark shards, but there are no shards for the unit like there are in some other shops. Like, you can buy Sharon and Kaya shards, but you can't get Genesis shards. You just can't do it. And if we go over here to the coin shop and take a look at the whale ticket, you can't pick ticket Genesis units either. You just can't. They have never been able to be pick ticketed, even by like even by like super paid selectors that had like other limited units that weren't generally available on pick tickets. That you just can't pick ticket these units. You have to sack them. So if you include the fact that you're going to have to continuously pull Genesis banners just to try to sack the unit, then you're going to have to continuously buy shards from the stores in order to max the units. Where does that leave Tagatame? Well, it leaves it in a really shit state. We've gotten limited unit after limited unit after limited unit. And even if, and this is not going to happen, I'm just telling you straight up, this will likely never happen unless EMIP is just straight up fired at this point. Which it clearly is not going to happen because he's fucking awful and he still hasn't been canned. You would get an EX hard quest for them that you get 1 shard per day. Right? If you just assume you Ellie fragged yourself to 85, and remember, Ellie frags are limited, especially like in global. But even in Japan, where we have access to more of them, you can't just Ellie frag any unit you ever wanted. You just can't do it. There aren't enough. So even if we assume you Ellie frag this 85, that's 375 Ellie frags, you'd still need the better part of 500 shards in order to get their gate 5, get through their gate 5. And at 1 shard per day, even if you include some double drops here and there, you're still looking at like a year worth of farming to max them in this manner. Assuming you don't get any dupes, but the idea that you get Genesis dupes are kind of stupid anyways because you have to pull their insanely overpriced banners. Remember, Takatame doesn't have 500 one-steps anymore. We have discount tickets that you can get an artificial one, but it's not like every week where you go down and you just run all the 500s and just see what you sack, which is how it was when I started in Takatame. It's just, you have to it's best to just stockpile them and see what the best banner is at the end of the month and just pull into the banner to try to get the extra rewards at the top of the banner. Yeah, it's not ideal. And just remember, this is never going to happen for Genesis units. It's just not going to. We're stuck with that stupid hard quest that's just completely random. You're just never going to get what you want. You're just never going to get what you want. So, that's the problem with Ambrosia, and honestly, at this point, it's the problem with every single new unit. All the new units feel like this these days. It's insanely difficult to max anything anymore. You gotta get the limited Nenso with the limited unit, with the shards that can't even be farmed. And at this point, you either just deal with the fact that you're just never going to be able to use a new unit again, or you wail, or like me, you just stockpile gems off of the pact and then just choose a unit that you really want to raise and hope for the best. You know, and that's no way to play a game. It just isn't, you know? Part of the fun of games is being able to consistently do what you enjoy in them, and one of the main reasons a lot of people play gacha games is to get that new unit, the new shiny unit that you really like the design of, you know, or that you really like the way the kit works, or whatever. That just isn't a thing in Takatame anymore. And I hate to be the doomsayer of Global, but unless Global changes things themselves, this is going to be Global soon, too. You know, I mean, Gate 5 isn't here, but you've already seen your banners deteriorate some. You know, I mean, they're not necessarily Genesis banner bad in all cases, but they're not good either. They're anything but good. And things are only going to get worse because you're starting to run out of new units. You really are. I mean, you still have a couple that you're going to get, like Hozuki, and you still have a couple more Babel units, like Cheryl to get, but honestly, eventually you are going to run out of new units that aren't part of this new series of limited units that are in Japan. And when that happens, if Global doesn't do something to modify how this is done, then you guys are going to be in the same situation we are right now, like 6 months down the line. You know, that's just what's going to happen. So how does this tie into War of the Visions? So War of the Visions, for anyone who doesn't know, is the new game from Gumi. It's going to be essentially a reskin of Tagatame with Final Fantasy characters. Like, even the maps look the same pretty much. I mean, anyone who looks at it basically can see they just, like, retextured Tagatame and added in, like, different unit models. I mean, they even have the limit break system. The limit break system, mind you, that I just spent the last, I don't even know how long, explaining to you why it's so freaking broken in Tagatame right now. Right? They're literally just repackaging Tagatame and just reselling it. Why would you ever buy that product if you are upset with the way things are right now? Like a lot of us are. There are a lot of people in Global and a lot of people in Japan who are very upset with the way these games are right now. And yet I see people who are excited for War of the Visions as if it's going to be different. And it's just not. It just is not going to be. And don't get me wrong, it won't be at first. It'll be very different at first. In fact, it might even be generous at first. But it used to be that Tagatame was better. It used to be that the Alchemist Code was better. You know, I mean, you can argue how much better or how much worse. But I think in general we could probably say that, like, the game used to feel like it was better. It wasn't as whale-centric. War of the Visions is literally just going to be just a redo for Gumi on this game. And I don't know why you would think they would do anything different if they couldn't even fix the original. You know, it's not a product that at least I am willing to buy into with the issues, the major issues that we see in Tagatame right now. And I'm not going to speak for anyone who watches my videos, but honestly, if you are upset with the way Gumi handled Tagatame or the Alchemist Code, you shouldn't either. Because if you buy into War of the Visions after what happened with the Alchemist Code and Tagatame, then they basically just got away with it. They literally got you to spend money on Tagatame and the Alchemist Code, get all these units that you liked, and ruined the game, and now they're going to try to get you to give up all the progress that you made and start over in what is essentially the same game and do it all over again. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not like... I've got a relatively high tolerance, and I'm willing to give them a shot. I've been kind of running on autopilot for like the last couple months in this game. But you know, autopilot only gets you so far, and it's not like I'm particularly enjoying the game right now. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm super happy that I got my share in Nenso. But I mean, I got that off of the pact money that I'm not even sure I'm going to renew my pact this time around. And I might just go full free to play. And after that, like, if I can't, like, still can't do anything, then I might just quit. Because, I mean, what else is there? I really don't want to pay much more money into this game. And I mean, pact money, I mean, it's not like it's super, like, over-the-top whaling or anything, but it is still money, you know? I could be spending that money on a different game or saving up to buy something else instead of playing this game. And if the whole game is just going to go to shit, and we don't even know if Tagatame is going to survive War of the Visions, it might just be that War of the Visions becomes relatively successful based off of the Final Fantasy tag alone, and Tagatame just gets scrapped, or they get all of their developers and stuff moved off of it, and then Tagatame just coasts into its own death. You know, I'm not going to pay into War of the Visions just to kill the game that I did enjoy. You know, I mean, the main reason I like Tagatame is because it's different. I'm not personally into that whole get like units from like other games into your own game. It's like I'd rather have a new world to explore than just like a rehashed version of some existing content. Not to say that isn't a bad thing. It's just, if I'm gonna go all into a game like this, I'd much rather have new content that I don't know. I like the new lore. You know, I like Ambrosia's design. I mean, in Final Fantasy game, you essentially would know what units you're getting if they're Final Fantasy units, you know? So, I don't know. What anyone does is really up to them, but I'm not about buying the same product twice when the first product was horribly, horribly botched in the end. You know, and there is still time for Tagatame to turn around, but time is very short. Tagatame will never be what it was. The most they could do is just save it from failing just miserably. And like I said before, the Alchemist Code is on its way to this point we're at right now. You can't put off Genesis forever. You know, you just can't. And you can't put off the train of limited units that we've had forever. And the content is only going to get more and more difficult, making higher end units more and more required, more or less. Remember, it isn't like it's just Ambrosia. You know, almost all content these days I clear it with Moa. And the reason my Moa is so strong is she has a limited Nenso. Right? A limited Nenso that's seasonal, so it's only back when special banners end during the season in which it's run. You know? I mean, Zane isn't too bad. Neither is Suzuka, and Light is in general one of the most free-to-play elements. But look at Alma. Alma's a Nenso unit, so you have to pull her Nenso. And since you guys don't have the raid pouch gear, you're probably going to have to get her swimsuit Nenso, and you guys don't know if that's going to be free yet in Global or not. But then you have to Kaigen her, and she needs her Gate 5 to do a lot of damage. And she's an EX hard quest. How are you going to get all the frags for that? Well, you either buy them, or, you know, screw you. You know, and it gets even worse if you look at a whale like element like Dark, where like Brig, hyper whale unit, Soul hyper whale, Ambrosia basically hyper whale, you know, and compared to like free units like Albea and Gol, who just don't even hold a candle. I mean, even Bashini, even though he's good, doesn't quite stack up to the likes of Noin, is like EX hard quest Vita unit. And Global doesn't even have DG units or SSM units in your standard pool yet. So I don't know what you guys are expecting for War of the Visions, but honestly, at least in my opinion, I think it's more of the same. I see no reason to invest into a game or a company that, like, handled their game like this. And, yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say. As for my future of my content in this channel, you don't have to worry about it. I don't plan on quitting at the moment. But I will say that my interest in the game is definitely waning at this point. There's not any good new content in Japan. I am looking forward to the Shenmue Job Plus, and I'm hoping they don't put it in a dungeon quest, because if they do, I might just quit that day. Because I can't take any more of these dungeon quests. It's been nothing but dungeon quests for months now, and they're not even fun. Like, can't I just get a map where, like, I have to, like, strategize my way, and I don't have to, like, farm it a lot, but, like, I actually have to use strategy to get there. Like, there are techniques to get to the end, and it's not just mow it down with Moa, you know? And I mean, I love my Moa. I love Moa. But it's when you only have like one unit, you need to clear pretty much all content. Like, there's not even a point of using other units. So, anyways, I've mostly given out my thoughts at this point. So I'm just gonna call it here because this video is probably already long. I have a tendency to make long videos, in case anyone here hasn't noticed yet. Um, I'll do a video on Ambrosia when I do finish her, just to show off what she's capable of. Um, just because I like her as a unit, I at least want to showcase her at least once. But yeah. I mean, all we can do really is wait and see where the game goes. I mean, things are bleak right now in Takatame. They truly are. Things have not been getting better. They've consistently been getting worse. It looked like they were going to get better for a little bit, and things were better for a little bit, and then they just went straight back down the freaking toilet. There's not really much else to say. It's consistently just been deteriorating here in Takatame, at least. Thanks for watching, everyone. And I hope to see you next time.